a wild update on everyone's favorite former president, Donald Trump. Just when you thought Trump's legal woes couldn't get any worse. So, as you know, Trump's facing 34 felony charges. Pretty rough, right? Well, turns out he's got an even bigger problem now. Picture this. Trump decided to play with fire and violated his gag order not once, not twice, but at least 3 times. That's right. He's been running his mouth in the lead-up to his first criminal trial in Manhattan. Now the repercussions? Trump's going to have to show up next week on April 23rd to explain himself at a show cause hearing. He needs to convince the court why he shouldn't be held in contempt for repeatedly breaking the gag order. And you know Trump, he's going to have a well-prepared, well-thought-out response. Just kidding. We all know he's going to spew some nonsense and probably get laughed out of court. This whole gag order situation isn't just a one-off event, it's actually a recurring theme for Trump. That hush money case is just one of 3 instances where gag orders have been slapped on him. Last year, in a civil fraud trial against him and his company, New York Judge Arthur Engoron imposed a gag order on Trump too. Of course, Trump couldn't keep quiet then either. What was the result? Well, Trump ended up paying $15,000 in fines for violating the order. Seems like he just can't help himself, right? This latest situation is just the newest chapter in Trump's ongoing saga of legal battles. His loud and defiant behavior keeps landing him in hot water. It's like he can't stop digging his own grave. We're all watching how it's going to play out this time. But given Trump's track record, it's likely going to be entertaining. Trump's antics don't come without consequences. These repeated gag order violations could land him in even more legal trouble. Not only that, but his credibility is taking a hit every time he breaks the rules and defies the court. He's walking a tightrope here, and one wrong step could spell disaster. Trump breaking a gag order isn't exactly shocking. What would be truly surprising is if he managed to comply with it for once. Now Trump has to face a show cause hearing on April 23rd. He needs to convince the court why he shouldn't be held in contempt for his repeated violations. And honestly, given his history, I wouldn't expect anything groundbreaking from his side. So let's talk about punishment. There are 2 possible penalties Trump could face. One is a money fine of up to $1,000 per violation, according to New York state law. The other is up to 30 days of jail time for each violation. Now, a $1,000 fine is practically pocket change for Trump. Let's be real, but jail time? That's a whole different story. Now, before we get too excited, let's not kid ourselves. Trump probably won't end up in jail right away. But the threat of jail time could serve as a significant deterrent to any future violations on his part. I recently spoke with MSNBC legal analyst Glenn Kirschner about this very issue. We discussed how the judge might handle these initial offenses and what kind of approach they could take. Here's what Kirschner had to say. Typically, judges take an incremental approach. For the first violation, they might give a warning. If there's a second violation, they may impose a $1,000 fine, which is nothing to Trump, but serves as a warning. And then they'll say, Defendant Trump, if you violate again after this fine, you will be put in a jail cell. Do you understand? So in other words, the judge could take a hybrid approach here. First, a warning, then a fine. And if Trump continues to violate the order, they'll threaten jail time. This gradual approach is a favorite among judges and could finally put some fear into Trump to toe the line. Trump's never been known for staying quiet when he should, so his repeated violations of the gag order come as no surprise. What would be shocking is if he actually managed to stick to the rules for once. Trump's show cause hearing is set for April 23rd. He's got to convince the court why he shouldn't be held in contempt for flouting the gag order. The consequences he could face are no joke, up to $1,000 per violation and even the possibility of 30 days in jail for each violation. Here's the thing, judges tend to take an incremental approach with penalties. They give the defendants a rope to hang themselves, no pun intended, by allowing them opportunities to comply with court orders. If a defendant keeps ignoring those orders, that's when they can find themselves behind bars. And that's exactly what the Manhattan District Attorney's Office is seeking here. They filed a brief on April 16th asking the court to impose the maximum financial sanction, $1,000 per violation, and stressed that future violations could lead to additional fines and even jail time up to 30 days. The hearing isn't immediate, it's set for a week down the line. This delay gives Trump another week to continue ignoring the gag order and causing trouble. We all know how he operates. He won't stop attacking anyone who crosses his path until faced with imminent punishment. Trump is up against some serious charges, including 34 felonies, but he's playing his favorite card, presenting himself as the victim. His strategy is clear: whine, complain, and cast himself as the underdog. But we know the truth. He's not the victim here. He's the one facing charges. Throughout this trial, Trump has tried to manipulate those who still believe in him, portraying himself as a target of a massive conspiracy. His goal is to garner sympathy from his supporters, but let's remember, he's the one facing felony charges. What we're seeing is classic Trump, turning every situation into an opportunity to boost his image and rally his base. He's spinning a narrative that paints him as the victim of a witch hunt, even though the evidence against him is substantial. And while he's putting on a show, the reality is far from his claims. This PR battle is just one part of a larger strategy to deflect blame and maintain his hold over his supporters. But as this trial continues, it's important to remember what's really at stake here. The legal process will play out, and the courts will decide the outcome based on evidence and the rule of law. Regardless of the noise Trump is making, his actions have real consequences, and he should be held accountable just like anyone else. It seems like Trump isn't happy with the legal process so far. He wants to take his case all the way to the Supreme Court because he thinks he's been treated unfairly. But let's be real, when you commit crimes, you have to answer for them, no matter who you are. Trump has been complaining about everything, from not being able to attend his son's high school graduation to accusing his trial of being nothing more than election interference. Classic Trump, portraying himself as the ultimate victim in every situation. For a party that often talks about toughness, they sure do seem to enjoy framing themselves as helpless and aggrieved. Let's not forget that Trump is the one who made the decisions that led to this situation. No one forced him to break the law. The rules against campaign finance violations have been around for a long time. Trump knew the law well, which is why he funneled secret hush money payments through Michael Cohen. These were calculated decisions that Trump made, and now he's facing the consequences. So what's the lesson here? If Trump wants to go to his son's graduation, campaign, and avoid the courtroom, the answer is pretty simple: don't commit crimes. This isn't rocket science, folks. Remember, actions have consequences. Trump may be trying to dodge the legal process and paint himself as the victim, but the courts will ultimately decide based on the evidence presented. This situation isn't the fault of Judge Juan Merchan, President Joe Biden, or the Democrats. It's on Trump himself. Instead of whining about being held accountable, he might want to consider taking responsibility for his own actions. Trump isn't above the law, and his legal troubles stem from his own decisions. He knew the rules and chose to break them. Now he's facing the consequences. Rather than shifting blame, it's time for Trump to own up to his actions and accept the outcome. Thanks for watching. Please like the video, press the subscribe button, and also drop your thoughts in the comments section.